Let's get to know Brenda West. We're going to start off with some rapid fire questions. What is your star sign?
Scorpio.
Favourite meal and who cooks it?
Oh, look, favourite meal would have to be my husband's pork ribs, marinated pork ribs. Absolutely delicious, and I can never get enough of it.
What sort of music do you like?
Quite an eclectic mix, actually. I'd have to say that I don't like heavy jazz, and I don't like heavy metal. But everything else is up for grabs.
When you were at school, which teen group were you in?
I wasn't really any part of any particular group. Bit of a floater. I could actually mix and mingle with all sorts.
Are you anti-vax?
Anti-vax? Why would I be anti-vax for? Vaccinations are there for a purpose. They're there to actually help people. So, no, not anti-vax.
Last TV show or movie you watched?
I'm currently binging a Korean series about an attorney. So, it's really good. Quite refreshing.
Favourite mode of transport?
I'd have to say car.
Ever been arrested?
No.
What would you consider to be a good crime to be arrested for?
It'd have to be pretty much out there. I'd have to really believe in a cause, and that cause would have to be pretty moving for me to be able to put myself in a position to be arrested.
If you were running for government, which party would you be with?
I would like to say predominantly Labour, but there are policies that other parties have that I'm really... So it's a bit of a pick and mix. There is no one party that I would totally align with. It really does depend on the policies they have.
Okay, on to the serious questions now. Why are you running for Mayor of South Wairarapa?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? There have been many triggers that actually prompted me to run for Mayor. The most prominent one in my mind would be the way that we treat our ratepayers. It's pretty appalling, and it needs to change. We need to actually be able to listen to what they have to say and actually take on board what it is that they want. Although we may make the decisions, we need to hear from our ratepayers over what decisions we need to actually make. So it's really important. That would be the predominant. There are a whole host of other reasons as to why I'm running, yeah, that'll be my main one.
If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing in the region, what would it be?
It would have to be our wastewater systems. They're all non-compliant. They all need a huge investment, but that's not just the only one that I would like to change. There are many things that need to be changed, and there are many challenges that we need to actually face up to.
If you win the election, what issue will you make your number one priority, and how do you plan to go about it?
Finances. We need to really look closely at our finances, and we need to have our hand on our hearts and say, is this the right way to spend the money? Do we need to reprioritise our projects? Are we heading in the right direction?
What is the region routinely lacking or neglecting that you hope to change?
Oh my goodness, where do I start with that one? There are just so many issues that we need to be working on all at the same time. And I believe that we need to actually sit down at the table, put everything up, and just prioritise what really needs to be done and focus on our knitting at the end of the day. We're there to provide a service to our communities, and that's what we need to be focusing on.
Could you give me maybe 3 examples if there's so many?
Roading would be one. I've already spoken about finances, which is a huge one. And I think our economic growth and how we can support our businesses, and not just our businesses, because that has a flow on to the way that our communities live day to day.
What can the council do to help slow down or limit climate change?
I think the council, well, I'd like to think that the council could do more to encourage our communities to actually think about what it is that they can contribute towards climate change. Certainly as council we are looking at everything that we do and making steps towards reducing our effect, but it's not being promoted on our community, and our community can actually help in huge ways. There are initiatives out there that we may not be aware of, but our community are, and it would be nice to actually have a talk with our community to find out, well, what can we do better as a district and as a region.
Who do you consider the at-risk groups in South Wairarapa, and how will you help them?
Well, there are two high-profile groups that would be at the top of my list, and that's our pensioners, our elderly, and how we go about supporting them. And then we've got people that actually can't afford to be in the district, and that's because we've put them in a position. I believe that we've put them in a position. So how do we get them out of that position? What can we do to ease it for our vulnerable people? If people are struggling financially, is it that they need planning on how to budget? Is that something that we can actually look at? Is there a way that we can reduce rates for those particular people? Yes, I understand that the government have a rates rebate, but is that enough? It's one worth kind of like putting around the table to see what we can do as a community, and finding out smarter ways of working.
Do you feel that, I'm getting the vibe that you don't feel South Wairarapa is having those roundtable conversations and inviting people to get involved and say their piece. Would you agree with that?
From where I see it, we're not very good at listening, and we need to learn to open our ears and actually just sit down, stop talking, listen. We don't do enough of that. We make assumptions without actually getting a really good feedback from our community. Our community have spoken loud and clear, yet here we are having a round conversation between ourselves. Not a good look.
What is your stance on Three Waters, and how could council do a better job?
That's a really good question. The intent of Three Waters, admirable. The pathway to getting there, not so much. What can council do? We could ask for more information, because that's what we're seriously lacking. There are a lot of concerns, and I am deeply concerned that if we amalgamate into 4 entities, our voice will be lost, and that would be so disappointing. Unless you're a big fish in the sea, you won't get the food.
What is the issue that's most important to you personally? It doesn't have to be South Wairarapa, and why?
For me personally, it's about the way that people are treated. I'm always about being honest, asking questions, actively listening. And it's important to take on board the thoughts of other people and to actually be engaging. It's really important for me.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about the upcoming elections?
I really think it's important that people should stand up and vote. A change starts at the top, and without votes, we don't know what changes need to happen. I think that it's important that we continue to use our voices, and that we need to keep on pushing. We really do. And I wish everyone good luck.
Kia ora, thank you.
Kia ora.